here, and I'll start this out, and our time is limited. Start this out with Revelation 12, where it says, He deceiveth the whole world. Now what does that mean?
The dragon?
Yeah, okay. Let's see. Therefore rejoice ye heavens, and you that dwell in them, woe to the inhabitants of the earth. The devil is come down to you having great wrath, because he knows he has a short time. Okay, let's go back here where it says he deceived the whole world. Let's see, in chapter 12. Yeah, it's right there. I didn't write this one down. I didn't have it memorized. But how does he deceive the whole world? That's the question. Oh, verse 9. 12 and verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, was deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. What is the deception that he uses to deceive the whole world? What is it? Number one, that he is God. Isaiah 14, 12 and on. I will ascend, I will do this, I will sit above the stars of God, I will be like the Most High. So that has been his ambition from the beginning. Okay, so here we have him coming to the place where he will, for a short time, be the God of this world, and he will appear, and almost the whole world will accept him. And there's only going to be one group that will not accept him. You know who it is? Matthew 24:24. It's the elect. Only one group that will not be deceived. Okay. Now, if you read the whole chapter there, but another important verse is chapter 12 and 5. And she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up to God and to his throne. Now this comes with what I wanted to talk about, how to escape the tribulation, how to escape the deception in the last days when Satan appears as Christ, and how to avoid the chip, the microchip. Can you speak about that for a minute, about what you understand to be the microchip that's coming?
Yeah, in Revelation 14, or chapter 13, it talks a warning against receiving the mark of the beast, which is going to be forced on all people, rich and poor, slave and free. And everybody has to receive the mark or the number or the name of the beast in order to be able to buy or sell. If you don't have that mark or number, you won't be able to buy or sell. And it's an economic boycott. And so for the saints to survive, we have to trust in God to provide for our needs, even as ancient Israel lived in the desert on manna and water out of the rock for 40 years. And God provided for them, so we'll have to trust God in the last days to provide for us. Because if we have received the seal of God, and we don't receive the mark of the beast, then we won't be able to buy or sell. We just have to trust in God to provide for our food and water and our sustenance. And already they're coming out with the RFID, the radio frequency identification microchip. It's the size of a grain of rice. It's a little mini computer chip, about a hard drive about the size of a grain of rice, that they're putting in people's hands. And they can put it in the forehead as well. But the point of it is, you can use this to unlock doors to your car, to your office building where you go to work.
You don't need any keys.
It's a special kind of power that identifies you. When you go to the hospital, the doctor can scan that and get your medical history information, what drug allergies you might have. Bankers, you go to the grocery store, they can do electronic funds transfer. So you don't have to use cash or credit card. You can just deduct funds out of your bank account, electronic funds transfers, and they can detect how much you have in your account like that.
That's right, exactly. Okay, in Australia, I got it in my last newsletter I sent out to the United States. If you want one, just send me your address. Write to mclute777@aol.com. Box oil, that's the number if you want to send a donation. Box 473, Woodburn, Oregon 97071. Are we still going, honey? Okay. Now, one of my correspondents from Australia, he wrote, and he says, Mike, I can hardly believe what Australia is doing. Now, Australia has already been the first large first world nation to give up all their guns.
All the civilian people?
Yeah,
give up all their guns.
they have no guns. That has not happened in the United States. They're still working on that to disarm the people. Okay, now I don't have a gun. I don't need a gun to protect myself. But this is the carnal situation with the world. That people think they need a gun to defend themselves. And so they haven't been able to disarm the people in the United States yet. But that will eventually happen. Now Christ talked about the hour of temptation in Revelation 3, 7 to 12. And he said the only people that will escape will be the Church of Philadelphia. And the prophecy is he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or their forehead. And the Greek word mark is kerygma, which means a cutting or an incision in the original Greek. RFID, radio frequency identification. And it has a picture here of a surgeon putting a little chip in the size of a grain of rice. Okay, so this is coming, and it says here that all the people in Australia have been told by the government this is a good thing. And you should see some of the, you just go on Google and say, show me the place where RFID is being promoted and accepted. You'll find a lot of videos on that. So here it says, superhuman microchip technology underway. And it shows a picture of it happening. Okay, so the hour of temptation is going to be the temptation to take this chip. That's one thing. Now, how to escape? How do we escape this, the hour of temptation, which Jesus spoke about in another place in Luke? And that's why Christ wept over Jerusalem. Jerusalem is a symbolism, a first, what do you call it? First example of a nation, a whole nation in a city which rejected Christ, and then they were surrounded by the Roman armies and destroyed. Jerusalem is a symbol of the United States today. When I first started coming to the Philippines in 2008, 2009, I was with a group of ministers. And one of the younger ministers said, Pastor Mike, do you know that the Philippines is the New Jerusalem? Well, I had never heard that before. I didn't challenge it. I didn't know what to say. I just sat there being, you know, compatible and friendly, civil. And I just thought, what's he talking about? Later I went back to the United States. I'm in my office one day, and the Lord said, Michael, do you remember that pastor told you the Philippines is the New Jerusalem? Yeah, I remember that. What's he talking about? Because the United States was the new Israel, the new Jerusalem when they first came. When the Pilgrims came in 1620 and this land was settled, this was the new Israel, the new Jerusalem. And this country has been greatly blessed. And now, like old ancient Israel, and then Judah took the place of the 10 tribes. Judah and Benjamin, half tribe. Judah, and then half tribe of Benjamin, Judah, and then they had the Levites also. And those 10 tribes were lost.